Here we are on our Venture Sporttrek 292 VRB. We're going to do a technical walkthrough on this unit like you would on the date of delivery for the unit, going through everything on the operation of it. Your unit may differ with some of these brand names. If you want a deeper dive, we may have some of these options on our HAPS Helpful Hacks section. Gives you more diagnostics, maintenance, and other information and tips and tricks. You can find that once again on our Great American YouTube channel. Now we're going to go ahead and start in the front here. Our 7-way plug here in the front. This is the connection that goes on your vehicle. Going to transfer all of your lights, turn signals, so on and so forth. You're also going to have a battery charge line on here that'll feed off of your alternator and charge that battery system while you're traveling down the road. And you're also going to have your brake control wire in order to control the brakes on your trailer. We're also going to have this silver lanyard with a loop. We need to go ahead and get a clip, hook this onto our receiver hitch where we clip our safety chains on the vehicle. We don't want to hook it to our ball hitch or couplings, back to our safety chains, anything like that, because the intention is if anything ever fails on that system, this wire right here will pull the pin out of that breakaway box and it will activate the brakes on our trailer, bring it to a stop. That way it's not rolling down the road. This will only happen if we have a good solid 12-volt battery system on here. If we don't, that safety system is not going to kick in. We always need to make sure we have that good charged up battery, and we also need to make sure that that safety pin is also connected in that box properly while we're traveling as well. We have our 12-volt stabilizer system. This is a BAL system. We'll go over the operation of how that works right now. So this is our BAL stabilizer system 5.1. We can go ahead and hit the power button on there. Everything will light up. We'll notice the light lights up on that jack as well. When we're ready to go ahead and level out our unit, when we're ready to go ahead and operate our system, we'll start with just the tongue jack. We'll hit extend or retract. It will start blinking. We hold down tongue jack and it will begin to operate that jack system. If we want to extend, hit extend. Same thing, it will operate that system. Now, if we want to go ahead and operate all of the jacks, we can once again hit extend or retract, hit all stab jacks, and that system will start dropping down all of our jacks on our unit. Now these are just stabilizer jacks on our system. If we want to level our unit, we'll need to get those stacker blocks and put them under our tires to level it from left to right and use our tongue jack option to level it from front to back. These are stabilizers meant to stabilize your unit, not level it. If we use them to level it and try to lift this camper up off the ground or more than it should be, the weight rating will overbear those stabilizer jacks. It will bend them and break them, and manufacturers aren't going to participate in that kind of damage. You do have an override system on here. This little cap can be removed. You can put your crank handle in here and manually operate that. You also have some overrides using a crank handle on those stabilizer jacks as well to get you out of the jam in the event anything happens. I also have some directions and quick reference guide up here on the lid of your jack system. Behind that stabilizer system, we do have our dual propane tanks right here with our dual propane regulator. That dual propane regulator has a supply switch on it. We go ahead and turn that switch over to one tank or the other, and that is our primary tank. You'll have an indicator on here, red if it is empty, green if it is full, and that is the current status of that tank. Once that tank runs dry, of course, your indicator is going to turn red. It will automatically start pulling off of that secondary tank so it doesn't interrupt your supply while you're cooking. Now, once you notice that this tank is empty, it will continue to go ahead and pull off of here. You can go ahead and swap it over to that secondary tank and get the first one refilled now. Behind that, we have our storage for our battery system as well as that battery disconnect. That battery disconnect is important when we're storing our unit. If we're storing our unit unplugged, we want to go ahead and turn that battery disconnect off so we're not having a drain on that battery for any of our systems inside the unit. And we also need to make sure we have it on anytime our unit is plugged in, because then that means our battery system will be charging while it's plugged in. All right, here on the driver's side, we do have access to our pass-through storage. Not much to talk about there, but we do have our stabilizer jacks we just talked about. This is the side where we'll see that override. We can put a crank handle there to manually lift that system in the event that it is not operating. On our slide outs, they are 12-volt powered. You have a motor in the underbelly of this system. They are 12 volt. In the event that anything happens to them, it won't operate. You do have an override on the other side sticking out of the frame. You'll see a little rod sticking out. You can put an impact or a crank handle on there and manually crank that slide in or out if needed. Before our slide out, we'll notice a sewer connection right here. This is our second gray tank system. We have a valve sticking out of the frame to be able to empty that out. We'll go over a little bit more information on that when we hit our rear sewage system. On the rear of our slide out, we have our 50 amp twist lock power connection. This is going to provide 110 power to our unit. We go ahead and insert that plug, turn it to the right, lock it in. We have that twist ring. We want to go ahead and tighten that up. Prevents that plug from falling out. Kids running around, tripping over wires, so on and so forth. It can interrupt power to our unit. At that point, then we go ahead and plug it into our shore power to provide power to our unit. We also want to make sure that our AC systems are turned off so we don't cause any surges to that system. Here we have our black tank flush hose connection. That is going to be used to flush out that black tank sewer system. We'll go over that whenever we step down there. We'll go over the information of our docking station first. So here on our docking station, we can see this blue lever right here. This is going to coordinate with our diagram right here. If we want to fill our tank, which is that onboard water storage, and that we want to take with us, because in the event we are going somewhere that has no water hookup, we would want to go ahead and hook our water hose up to this, and then we can fill that tank. Now, if we do have water connection wherever we're at, we go ahead and turn it to city water, and then that water will go straight to our fixtures. This vent right below it is just a vent for that fresh tank. That way that air can escape out of there. We have a quick connect right here that will provide us with that blue coil hose. We can hook up right here and have a spray port with hot and cold. And then we have our two coax connections right here for satellite and cable. So down on the bottom of our unit, we have our 4-inch connection right here, just like the one in front of our slide out. The one in front of our slide out, remember, is just a gray tank. That's that secondary system. On this one right here, we have our black tank and gray tank. So once again, we'll have our handles sticking out of our frame, identified by the color of the handle as to what they are, black and gray. Gray is going to be all your shower water or sink water. The one up front is going to be like your kitchen water. That can stay open all the time as long as you have a hose connection hooked into the port at the campsite, or you have to go to a dump station. You need to leave it closed until you get to that dump station. Our black tank system, however, needs to be closed all the time until we're ready to dump and flush that system. Reason being is that's everything from our toilet, all of our sewage debris, everything else in there. If we don't keep water in that tank, that system can dry up, cause damage, and it will be stuck in there, and it can be an expensive repair. So make sure that valve stays closed all the time until we're ready to dump. When that time comes around, we have our hose connection hooked up. We pull that black tank valve, we dump that system out, let it flow out. We get a hose and we hook it up to our black tank flush right there. That sends water to a jet port on the other side of the tank that will help push water and debris down into this valve right here and out to your dump station. Now, when we are satisfied with our flushing of the system, we can go ahead and turn that black tank flush off, disconnect it, close this black tank valve, go on the inside, hold down that toilet pedal, and fill it up with a couple gallons of fresh water, fresh clean water. This is to help wash down any debris in there, and then we want to add chemicals to that system as well to break down anything that might be left in there. Then when we're traveling down the road, that good clean water is going to help knock that stuff down off the walls and sensors as well, and help flush that system out some more. Once again, chemicals will help break it down. Now, if we want to go a step further in flushing out our black tank system, we do have that video in our HAPS Helpful Hacks section under how to flush out your black tank. Under here, we're also going to have a red and blue line. Those are our low point drains. When we want to winterize our unit, that's when those come in. If you want more information on that, you can refer to your owner's manual or find our video in the HAPS Helpful Hacks section. All right, on the back of our unit, we are pre-wired for that Furrion backup camera. It already has power ran to it. Whenever you turn your running lights on your vehicle, then that will send power to that backup camera. We can go ahead and use that to monitor what's behind us when we're backing up or traveling down the road. Buy that backup camera, add a couple of screws up there, and put it in. It's a pretty quick and easy job. On our rear bumper, we do have some plastic caps on the end. We can pull those off, store our sewer hose in there, and we also have our receiver hitch down here at the bottom with a weight rating on it for extra storage. And that is for like bike rack, a little extra buggy we want to put behind here. It is not intended to tow your boat, golf cart, or anything of that nature behind you, so keep that in mind. No lights back here, no tow hook locations, none of that. Don't tow a trailer behind you on this system. We do have our factory supply ladder back here. That ladder is to gain access to our roof. We need to check our sealants on our roof every 60 to 90 days. That includes our sealants on our sides, around our windows, around our lights, all that stuff. We need to check every 60 to 90 days for any cracking, peeling, deterioration, and prevent water entry into our unit. This is important because it is considered customer maintenance, customer responsibility to check and maintain this stuff. Just like changing the oil in your car, we need to do that so our camper will last for years to come. If we don't, water gets into our unit. Manufacturers aren't going to participate in that kind of stuff if the unit has not been maintained properly. We also need to go up on our roof, clean that roof at least once a year, if not twice. And we also need to check it after trips to make sure no low-lying tree limbs have poked any holes in that rubber. Here on the passenger side of our unit, once again, we have that pass-through bay with a little motion sense light in there that we can leave on. It'll turn on when we open and close those doors. We have a little switch in here. That switch activates the underglow under our unit. And we also have our Lippard tire link system. It is pre-wired with the mount on there. We would have to purchase the monitor and sensors to be able to put on our tires, but the power is already ran if we want to go ahead and add that component on here to be able to monitor our tires while we're traveling down the road. We do have more storage in this slide out right here. Once again, another 12-volt powered slide out, the motor in the underbelly and the override on the other side. You'll notice another bolt down here on that stabilizer jack, and same thing in the rear of this unit. You're going to have that manual override on each side for that system. Under our awning, we're going to have our Fugatti tankless water heater system that's going to supply endless hot water for our unit. We'll go over the operation of that when we hit the inside. We have our Suburban furnace right here, gas powered. That's going to go ahead and heat our unit. That'll be the exhaust for it. Under the J-wrap right there, we're also going to have our spare tire. If you look on the frame, you'll see that bolt. You can go ahead and drop down that spare tire using that. And out here we have our 110 GFCI outlet right here for outdoor appliances. Once again, GFCI controlled. That is important when we get to the inside. In the event that that's not working, we're going to tell you where to go in order to double check that and make it work again. Up here we have our vent. That vent is over our 3-burner stove on the inside. When we want to ventilate that out, you have a little fan on there. It's going to exhaust out. There are 2 tabs on that vent you will have to open up in order for it to actually exhaust outside. When we store our unit, it's suggested you close those tabs so no insects or rodents can build any nests in that system. All right, on the rear of our unit, we have our outdoor kitchen. Our outdoor kitchen has a 110 operated dorm fridge back here. That's important to know because anytime we plug in our unit, guess what? The system's turning on, it's cooling, it's freezing, and when we unplug it, it's defrosting. So when it begins to defrost, we need to open it up, dry it out, air it out, do all those things to prevent mold and mildew in that refrigerator, and also prevent the opportunity for water to leak out of this door and damage any of our wood components around it. If we don't do that, it gets damaged. Manufacturers aren't going to participate in that repair, so make sure we are maintaining that properly. It is a customer's responsibility. Out here we do have our outdoor TV prep for antenna and cable, and we also have our outdoor grill. Outdoor grill has blue tabs right here on each side. We push those down and we can go ahead and slide that system out. We do have a quick connect for our hose to be able to hook up to that water faucet. Now for this system, it does drain out into a hose. We have to pull this little black cap off at the bottom, hook a water hose up to it, and run it to a port or drain off into a ditch, wherever you want, and that will drain for our sink. Our LP griddle right here is operated off of our propane tanks in the front. In order to get there, however, we do have to hook up our quick connect connection. We'll notice a male fitting right here on the back bottom. We'll hook up to that. In order to do that, this lever right here is going to have to be in the off position in order for this quick connect to operate. And once we have it hooked up, we'll have to turn that valve open like this in order for the gas to actually flow into our system. Same thing when we hook the male quick connect up under our J-wrap on our frame. So keep that in mind whenever we're hooking that up. In order to restore our system, we hold down these blue tabs once again, push them down, and it locks into place. We're also going to notice, once again, we have those stabilizer jacks in the rear with our little override positions on there with the bolts. In the event that that system isn't working, that's where we would go to override and crank them back up. On our entry door, we will notice we have some friction controlled hinges on here, so that door will have a little resistance to it, is to prevent the wind from slamming that door shut or open against the wall here. We also have our solid step systems. these solid step systems in store by lifting them up, making sure this latch right here latches into the frame. Good idea to have your door all the way open whenever you put those steps up so the brackets don't scratch up your screen right here. Ready to go ahead and pull it down, pull that blue tab, drop them down, and we're ready to go. After we have leveled out our unit from left to right, front to back, we need to come over here and level these steps. Really easy to do. Lift them up, and we push in this silver lever right here, and we can extend and retract those steps as necessary to level them out. This is important for two reasons. We need to make sure that this threshold is nice and level so our entry door will close and seal properly, and we also want to make sure that our frames are in the proper spot so we don't cause any damage down here from those frames making contact with our steps and our door frame. Last thing on the outside is our 12-volt powered awning. Flip of a switch, that awning will roll out, and we need to make sure we understand that it's mainly a sunshade, right? Light rain shade maybe. Anytime you got a bad storm coming in, wind, rain, anything like that, roll that awning in. You're leaving your camper for an extended period of time, roll that awning in. You do not want the insurance claim and the cost of having to repair that, as well as any damage or safety concerns that it might have for anybody that might be under it. It is important that once we roll our awning out, we need to go ahead and pitch it either to the front or the rear. Very easy to do. With this system, we go ahead and grab this arm, pull it down. Sometimes we may have to hold that like that. It's pivot point right here. Now our awning is pitched to where that water will drain off over here. Now what water, you ask? Light dew, maybe light rain, but you also have AC condensation coming off of that rooftop that can settle on this awning. Want to make sure all that stuff is able to roll off and not puddle on that awning, causing it to collapse and any safety concern for anybody that may be under it, and also preventing you from the insurance claim and damage to your camper. We're ready to roll that awning in. Just push back up on that pivot point and we're ready to roll it in. As we walk into our unit, of course, we have our closet pantry area right here we can use. We have our control center for all of our slides, our lights and everything right here, as well as our satellite cable hookup for our entertainment, our TV. Our JBL Bluetooth soundbar right here for our TV, or if we want to hook it up to our phone. And then we have our 110 powered fireplace down at the bottom if we want to use electric heat instead of gas. We're going to go over a closer look at our control center right here, as well as our 110 fireplace. We'll do that now. So in this system, we can hook it up to our cell phone. If we were to go ahead and download the app for our system, we go ahead and hit that pair button, it'll start flashing, and then we can go ahead and pair it through Bluetooth and control a lot of this stuff off of that app. If not, we can go ahead and do everything here. We have our battery, our fresh tank, our black tanks, and gray tank. Your system may vary as far as how many black or gray tanks you have. So if you only have one black tank on your system, the only black one is going to operate. Little light meter up here lights up and lets you know what the current status of that tank system is. We do have tank heaters on our unit. That is a 12-volt heat mat that is on your tanks in the underbelly to go ahead and help keep them warm and keep them from freezing up during cold weather. We also have our water pump system. That water pump system pulls from that fresh tank that we have filled up inside our unit in order to have water if we don't have a city water connection. If we do have a city water connection, we want that water pump off. That is an on-demand pump. When you do have it on, you should only hear that pump running whenever you are using a faucet, shower, anything like that. If you hear it continuously running and you're not running any of your faucets or anything, you want to turn that system off and go check, make sure you don't have a leak somewhere, or check to make sure that your tank is not empty. If it's empty, shut that system off so you don't burn up that pump. Here we have all of our lights for our awnings, our interior lights, as well as over our jacks and our front cap light. Go ahead and just click those off and on to operate them. And then we have our slide out and awning selection as far as running those out. Once again, it varies as far as how many awnings or slide outs you have. This is a generic panel. So in order to operate, let's say slide 1, we go ahead and keep hitting that selector button until we get to slide 1, and then we hit out or in to run that slide. We want to run the next slide, hit that arrow, out or in. Same thing with our awning. All these are 12-volt power components right here. If we have any issues, want to check that 12-volt powered system as well as a fuse panel over by our breaker panel we'll go over later. In our living room, we do have our manual recliners. Pull that cable, they'll recline back. We also have the massaging seats with the heat option right there and our USB charging ports. Down here, we'll notice our 110 control center for all of those 110 appliances that we have, as well as our 12-volt components right here with those blade fuses. If we have issues with any of those items, we want to come check, make sure none of the breakers are tripped and none of our fuses are blown. We're also going to hear a little fan running behind there. That is our converter system. Our converter system changes 110 power to 12 volt power to charge that battery system for you whenever you're plugged in. So that's why I always tell you, turn that disconnect on when you're plugged in so that converter can keep the battery charged. The fan you're hearing is just cooling off that control center in there. Our bathroom is pretty cut and dry. We have our shower. We do have a travel latch right here on that shower door. Want to put that on when we're in travel so we don't bust that glass on the door. We're also going to have a vent fan in this bathroom. We want to use that whenever we take a shower to get all the heat and humidity out of here and reduce any opportunity for mold and mildew. Also have that Level Mate Pro there on the wall. We're going to go over the operation of that right now. So we're going to walk you through how to operate this Level Mate Pro. We can see that our adjustments are right there in front of us. If we drop the front down, of course, we'll see the front drop, so on and so forth. But the objective is to continue to level this unit until we start to see that 0 come to life. We get a green, and then we are good to go. We can also set our hitch position. So once we are disconnected from our truck, we can see down here at the bottom, we can hit set, and that will set our hitch position right there. If we click yes, hitch position is set. So now after we have leveled our unit out, let's say we don't want to play that guessing game, right? So we bring our jacks up and we can control that front tongue jack. We hit recall here and it will adjust and let you know where that original hitch height was, and you can go up and down until you zero out there. Then you won't have to worry about trying to guess where that hitch height actually is. That wraps up everything on our Level Mate. Next we have our toilet system. Our toilet's where all our sewage is going, right? Number 1, number 2, our RV toilet paper only, no other toilet paper, and our chemicals. We're doing number 1, it's just liquids. We hit that pedal, send it down the drain, it's good to go. Number 2, solids. We need to go ahead and barely push that pedal down right there and fill that bowl up about half to 3/4 of the way, so we have enough water to flush those solids down the drain into our tank and not give us any plumbing issues. This is also where we'll go after we go ahead and flush out our tank. We'll hold that pedal down, add several gallons of water in there, clean water, and we'll also drop our chemicals in there so it can go ahead and degrade anything that's left in that system. Don't put anything else down that tank besides 1, 2 toilet paper and our chemicals. It will get clogged up in that tank system and it will be a costly repair. In our bathroom, we also have our Fogatti water heater system as well as our GFCI receptacle. This is that main GFCI that we're going to go to. It controls all the outlets in those wet locations. We'll go over how to reset that system in the event that none of them are working. Our water heater system right here is pretty cut and dry. Turn it off and on, hit that power button, change between Fahrenheit and Celsius, hit that button right there. And to change our set temperature, which is going to be the temperature of our water output, we can control that with our arrows right here. On demand system, we turn our hot water on and it will initiate, turn on the flame, and begin to heat that water. Our GFCI outlet right here is going to control all those outlets in wet locations in our kitchen, outside, anywhere where you see a label saying GFCI protected. In the event that these outlets are overloaded with too many skillets, coffee makers, or anything of that nature, this system will trip. And also if those outlets get wet, this system will trip too. So this is where basically it's like a breaker on here. You have 2 buttons, your reset button, your test button. If we hit that test button, it's going to initiate like that system is tripped and it's going to kill all those outlets. In the event that happens and your system trips, we come over here, we hit that reset button, we'll see that green light pop back on and you're good to go. If it immediately trips again, then we want to go remove some of those appliances we have on there or make sure that none of those outlets are wet. We'll notice our dinette booth can add more sleeping space. We remove these poles and the table can sit down on these 2 wood pieces right here. Take our back cushions and put them down over there to add more sleeping. In our kitchen area, we have our 12-volt powered Furrion refrigerator. It is going to pull off that 12-volt battery powered system. We open our bottom fridge right here. We have our control knob for both the fridge and the freezer area. It can go from that off position, which shuts everything down, to cold to colder. And then also we have that off-grid option. Off-grid option is if we are working off of 12-volt power only, relying on our solar or our battery system, we don't have shore power, we're trying to reduce the energy that we're using off of that system, so we go to off-grid. Now, that is also going to take into account that you're not opening and closing this fridge too often, so that compressor's not going to work as hard to keep it cold. So keep that in mind whenever you use that option. Another thing to remember is these fridges do not have drain tubes, just like your outdoor fridge. Anytime it's running, it's being cold, right? And it's freezing. So we need to make sure that we're defrosting it as well when we shut that system down, get all the water out of there, wipe it all down, reduce the risk for mold and mildew, and reduce the opportunity for that water to drain out and damage our wood components around it that our manufacturers do not cover. If that happens, it is considered customer maintenance to defrost that fridge properly. Our microwave right here, 110 operated. We have that hood vent over our 3-burner stove. We have that vent outside. We need to open the tabs in order for that to actually exhaust. And we have our 3-burner stove top right here. Glass cooktop gives you extra counter space right there. This is also how it needs to be when we travel, so that glass doesn't fall down and break. When we're ready to use it, flip it up. We can turn our gas option on by turning any one of our selected knobs to that flame icon right there, and then we're going to turn our igniter until it actually lights. Once it lights, we can go ahead and turn to the selected flame that we want, and then we're ready to cook. Now we'll notice that these rings do light up red. That's to indicate that system is on and emitting gas out into the atmosphere. So it's a nice safety feature. Kids playing around, you see it turn red, we need to go turn it off. Little light switch right here can turn the oven light on, as well as our knob lights up here to add some ambiance and features. Even with that light turned off, our knobs will still turn red. Now, the thing about your gas system is anytime you pull it out of storage, more than likely you had your tanks off, the propane in your lines is going to dissipate over time, and then you're going to have air in your system. Same thing happens if you change out your propane tanks. You're going to end up with air in the system. Best thing to do is whenever you pull it out from storage or you're ready to go camping, whatever, turn those propane tanks on, come to your stovetop and bleed the air out of the system. It's the quickest, fastest way to come and do that. Go over here and do just that. Turn it to the flame icon, light it, and let it burn for 30 to 60 seconds till you have a nice blue ring flame up here. And I always suggest doing that first before we operate things like our tankless water heater system or our furnace, and that helps eliminate any faults that might happen due to air in the lines. Our oven down here is a little bit different story. After you bleed the air out of that system, it's still going to take a little bit of time because the little hole in there is so small. Still going to take a little bit of time the first time you light it, so have patience with that. In order to light it, we're going to turn over to our flame icon just like our stovetop, but on this one we have to hold that button down in order to emit gas out of that pilot. Once we do that, we go ahead and turn that ignition knob until it lights. Once it lights, we hold it down for about 30 to 60 seconds, let that thermocouple warm up, and then we can go ahead and turn it to the desired temperature. From there, we should see that burner tube light up and we're good to go. If that pilot goes out, the burner tube didn't light up, we need to go ahead and go back to that flame icon, relight the pilot, hold it for a little bit longer, and then we go to our designated temperature. Over here we have our Go Power solar controller, and we do have solar on our unit that goes down to our battery, helps charge our battery when I have sunlight. That system is just to monitor it. It'll let you know when that system is charging. Not much else to go over there. We do have our Coleman Mach AC thermostat right here to be able to control our living room air conditioner as well as the heat for our entire system. Now we do have another thermostat in the bedroom. It's going to work the exact same way, but it's only going to have a cool option and run the AC for the bedroom. It will not run the heat for the entire unit. Only this thermostat will do that. Let's go over the operation of that now. Right here is our ceiling assembly for our Coleman Mach AC. We're going to have another one in our bedroom. It's going to work the same way. We had turned these two tabs right here and gain access to our filter, just like one that you would have at your house. We need to change that filter out when it gets dirty. We don't want to restrict airflow to our AC system. Now we're only going to feel cold air coming out of these vents right here. That is our ducted system. Anytime we run the heated system, that's going to come out of the vents in our floor. So this is where the cold air comes out. Floor is where the hot air comes out. Before we go into our bedroom, we'll notice down here we have that COLP detector. 12-volt operated safety device. We'll notice a little green light down at the bottom letting us know it's powered up. It's hardwired into our battery system. It does have a little test button right there. We need to turn that, push that button before we go camping or once a month, check and make sure that system is working. It does have an expiration stamped here on the front of it. Sometimes it's on the back. You need to check that expiration and make sure that it's still in date. Once you hit that date, you need to go ahead and have it changed out. You're also going to have a smoke alarm in here on the ceiling, just like the ones at your house, powered by that 9-volt battery. You need to check that once or twice a year and make sure that system's working and powered up as well. In our bedroom, we're going to have another slide out that our bed is in. Of course, our ceiling assembly for that front AC with our ceiling ducts, along with our other thermostat that once again is only going to operate on that cool function for this AC. We have our 110 fireplace right here, going to work just like the one in the front as well. And then we have our backer location for our TV up here. And then we have our 110 outlet and our pre-wired system for our King Connect if we want to upgrade to that Wi-Fi system that we can have Wi-Fi with us wherever we go. We also have another coax plate for that auxiliary satellite or cable antenna option right there. It's going to plug in just like the ones in our front TV, but the difference is we're going to notice there's a little button on here with a green light. Now for all of your locations, you are able to do cable or antenna. Anytime you are shooting for antenna, scanning for those channels, want to make sure that green light is on here. If it's not, push that button, turn it on. That is your 12-volt boost for that antenna system to help you pick up more channels in that area. If you are hooked to cable at the campground, want to push that button and turn that green light off so we can scan for channels for cable and it doesn't scramble the channels at the campground. In the front of our bedroom, we do have access, if we lift this panel, to the front storage, that pass-through storage that we have in the front.
Well, we hope you found that resourceful, but wait, there's more information on our Great American RV YouTube channel. This channel right here, find the playlist Hap's Helpful Hacks. We go over different products in this unit and we'll take a deeper dive with more diagnostics, more information, as well as helpful tips when you're out camping. Tell your buddies, tell your friends, like, share, subscribe, do all those awesome things on YouTube, TikTok, wherever you found us. And keep watching here at Great American RV SuperStores, where we bring the how-to you.